Hello friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works workshop, and I'm going to make a couple of changes on how I'm doing the videos. I'm going to try hard to put a video out every Wednesday, maybe at other times too if you know, if there's enough material to make another video or something during the week. But try on every Wednesday so that you'll kind of count on when the new videos will be uploaded. I've got a couple of things in this video that we're going to talk about. I've got a bass that I just completed, and I wanted to show you how that turned out and what we did to that, and that'll be coming up here in just a minute. I also just got my new DVD, Mandolin training DVD, all packaged up, ready to go into some stores, local music stores around here. It's a 2 DVD set. There's almost 3 hours of video explanation on here. If you're looking to learn to play a mandolin, or you know some youngster especially that's looking to learn to play a mandolin, or anyone for that matter, this would be a real good way to start. Shipped to your door, it's just $55. I'll put my address, contact information at the end of this video. Got another little project. It's very common, and it's the typical saddle is in the wrong place type problem on the bridge. This one I'm going to try a method to fix it that I've never tried before. I mean, I've done similar things many times, but I'm going to do something slightly different this time. Okay, I'm holding the camera, and you can see that this saddle is, you can see the notches in the saddle where the strings have worn it. It's a micarta or a plastic, and for some reason it's pulled forward quite a bit. So the plastic is actually pulled forward, which is sharpening the strings some. But these two strings are very sharp, and the rest of them are slightly sharp. What I'm going to do, since this has a relatively thin saddle on it, I'm going to take a router and route the slot just slightly wider than it is. Put in a slightly wider, thicker saddle, and then I'll be able to notch that saddle further back to set the action a little further back to make up the difference on this. Also, when I took the strings off, I could tell the frets wore much more than I thought they were. And I noticed quite a bit of buzzing down here on the treble strings. So I'm going to do a light fret job on this to level all the frets, recrown them. This guitar definitely needs a better setup. The person that plays it, I believe, has a very good ear, and so we need to get it as close to perfect as possible. Okay, here's my jig set up to make this slot a little bit wider. I have this very thin piece of wood. I would say it's a 32nd of an inch thick. I laid it on here, on this is my guide right here that matches this slot. I laid this on here so that the router bit is touching the back edge of the slot when this is on here. When I take this out, that will let this router move that way just slightly. So here we go, wish me luck. I believe that's going to do it. Okay, it's going to be a little wider saddle than what was in there, but that's okay. We'll be able to shape it and make it work. It's not crazy wide, but it's definitely wider. My only regret is that I didn't show you how sharp this guitar was. The worst was the A string up here at the top, and it was 20 cents out. This one was 15. These other ones were around 5. This one was around 10 to 12, and this one was around 5. They were all sharp. there's the E. It's almost dead center now. I also reduced the height of the nut. The action on the nut was pretty high, so that was bending, causing the string to be off the fretboard even more. Pretty close. Here's the D. Pretty darn close. Here's the G. Right on the money. Getting some overtones on getting a few sympathetic overtones on the B. I would say this guitar is tuned to a B. Pretty close. There's the E. Man, it's pretty darn close right now. Pretty darn close, considering how far out it was. We leveled the frets on it, we re-crowned the frets, we leveled the fretboard, did a real nice fret job on the whole instrument. Like I said, I lowered the strings and the nut up here, the ones that were extra sharp, and the action's pretty good on it now. It's not very high. I've got the action pretty good down here at the 12th fret. So I believe the customer's going to like it a lot. So working on a Engelhardt bass, acoustic bass. Let me just explain the problem to you. It's not supposed to do that. You can see the neck is just loose as anything. As I wiggle it here by hand, you can just see the neck is just moving like crazy. The bad news is the back, well, that's good news really. The back is in good shape, so I cannot get to this joint with the back on here very good. I'm trying to, because this is so loose, I'm just trying to find some way to force it out of there without taking the back off the bass, because that's just a lot more work to put the back on and get it straight and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to monkey with it for a while and see if I can't get the back, see if I can't get the neck off of it without taking the back off. I would say the chances are slim to zero that that's going to happen, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we have yet another bass. This one is an Engelhardt that the neck joint is just destroyed. It was totally loose. You could shake the neck back and forth sideways. And here's a chunk of wood that came out of there. Basically, it didn't come out of there. It was just loose in there, and I just peeled it off because there was no point in trying to salvage it. You can, on the back side, I went ahead and cut this off. I was going to try to take the back off, but this back was so tight, it was unbelievable. Even that little piece right there was crazy tight. So by the time I would have fought with all that, all the hours I would have spent on that, I decided to just go ahead, and all the damage that would have caused, by the way, I just decided to cut it off here with a razor saw. It cut off very, very straight, very, very smooth. When I put it back on there, it will just barely be noticeable because I cut it off with a very, very fine razor saw. I do realize that that also gives strength to the neck, and you know, I'll do what I can to make sure that it's glued really good to this block and stuff to help a little bit, but it's just the way it is. There was just no other good way to get this thing apart other than I could have spent several hours taking the back off, but I guarantee you the damage that I would have created would hardly have been worth it. I'm going to fix this one the way I fixed the K-Bass. I'm going to route this all out, put a new big block of wood in there, glue it in real good and tight, and then cut a new dovetail that matches the neck exactly. As you can see, I've done exactly the same thing to this Engelhardt bass as I did to the K-Bass. I had to, all of the wood on the inside here was completely gone, so I put a whole new block in. I routed this all out flush first, put a whole new block in, and as you can see, the block protrudes all the way back to here. I had to cut this off. I made a very fine cut on that. When I get that back together, you won't hardly be able to tell it. I'm pretty sure that'll blend in really nice. and you won't hardly be able to tell it. So anyway, that's the way it is right now, and we'll take a picture of it after we get it all routed out to match this neck right here. Okay, we're back with this Engelhardt bass, and as you can see, we've got the dovetail cut into the new block of wood. Here's how it fits. Slides right into place. As you can see, it slides right into place. And let me fasten it down a little bit here. I'll put a little pressure against it. You can see it's almost flush right there. Not quite. It's got like a 32nd of an inch to go. A little hammer tap, I believe, will be all we need. I'm going to make sure, though, that we don't have a lot of pressure on it, because if you put too much pressure on it, you break the new block of wood, and we don't want to do that. So anyway, we're just about there. It's very straight this way. Up and down, it's real nice and straight. We're just about perfect on that. And the angle should be the same, so everything should be good. We'll bring you back when we get her all strung up. Well, here's the completed bass. The neck's all back on it. I've got that little part I had to cut off there. I hated doing that, but it was the only reasonable way to do this one. This back was on here so good that all I would have been doing would have been delaminating the back and making all kinds of marks and scratches along the back. And so I elected to make that one little tiny razor saw cut across there to get to that joint. I tried everything to get it out of there without having to cut that off. Just didn't work out that way. We've put a whole new neck block in here, as you saw, and made the dovetail fit it perfectly, and it's all straight down through here. Got it all tuned up. I noticed one thing that's kind of unusual on this bass. I kept trying to tune this D string, and I kept thinking, why is that D string not sounding right? Well, it's not the D string that's the problem, it's the G string. They've got a D string where the G string's supposed to be, so that's too big of a string over here on the G string. And as a matter of fact, they're identical. When you measure them with a caliper, they both measure 55 thousandths. And so, anyway, the bottom line is, I'm going to tell him that, but that's what makes the bass sound weird. It took a lot of attention to bring that G up to the note, and then not so much to bring the D up, and not so much to bring the A or the E up. And they had broken the D string, so I had to put a new D string on it, and I'm sure that's why. They thought it needed to go up another octave to match the G string. But anyway, kind of crazy, but it's all set up really good. I'm sure it's going to last a long, long time. It's in very good shape now. Plays good, notes good. Hope you enjoyed it. Please click the subscribe button, and I would appreciate a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. Thank you.